Welcome back, Pokemon Trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order, and it is Monday, August 29th, which means it's time for another news update video thingy here on the channel. As always, first thing I will mention is I do have a random booster pack of Pokemon TCG, Fates Collide this time. I'll be opening this up in the video towards the end and giving out the code card to a lucky viewer that participates in the question of the day using hashtag QOTD in their comment, basically just answering the question that I give you as I open this up towards the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. But, as is the usual routine, we're going to check out last week's question of the day. The question I posed to everybody out there was, since we did just get the revelation of new Pokemon GX cards coming out next year, which is sort of in tune with the Z moves of the new Pokemon Sun and Moon coming up, the question was, what do you think about Z moves and or Pokemon GX? Just get some sort of feedback from everybody out there and see what the opinion is of all the viewers. And the winner of the code card from the Breakpoint booster pack that I opened up last week, viewer named Jake, who did offer condolences for the Pokemon that, spoilers, we lost in Friday's episode of Pokemon Silver. Lost in the sense that he's injured. He's coming back for Sapphire at some point, I'm sure, but we did lose the use of him for the remainder of Pokemon Silver. So Jake, thank you for your condolences on that loss. I'm not saying who it was, of course. If you want to know, check out that video if you haven't seen that yet. But Jake answered the question of the day saying, I think Pokemon GX will be extremely overpowered in the TCG unless you need to power it up. If it is like an ability, it will be too much. And Z moves seem cool though. It will be good to see the next competition or the next championship with them in it. So, as he says, the Pokemon GX attacks that we see so far on Solgaleo GX and Lunala GX coming in for next year's, probably the first expansion next year, I think they said early in 2017, they do seem kind of overpowered, and if you notice on the cards that they've revealed thus far, there are no energy requirements printed on these cards yet. So you might think perhaps, well, first of all, the GX attacks themselves have the energy requirement section covered by this black ink that they used in the trailer video. So they're not showing us what the energy requirements are going to be yet for the GX attacks or just the regular attacks either. So they're probably leaving it hidden for now so that we don't know what to expect with that. I personally would be surprised if any less than 4 energy is required for a GX attack. Because, like, with the power that you can get off with that, Solgaleo GX can attach 5 of any kind of energy during that attack, and Lunala GX can knock out a non-Pokemon GX, a basic Pokemon, without doing damage. It just simply knocks it out. So the fact that they are so powerful, I would like to see 4, maybe even 5 energy required to power up those attacks. But who knows? It might be as simple as 1 or 2 energy, or it might be, as Jake might have implied a little bit unintentionally, it might be as if it's an ability. You could just do it before, well, not before attacking, but if it's like an ability, I wonder if Hexmaniac would shut that off. It's hard to say, but anyway, we'll find out as Pokemon GX cards do come out in 2017, and I'm expecting the first expansion of the year. So thank you to Jake for answering the question, and everybody else that participated, and congratulations to Jake for winning the Breakpoint code card. And again, you have a chance to win the Fates Collide code card, which I will open up towards the end of the video when I give that question, or this question, at the end of this video. Now, moving on, I will say there's not really too much to mention news-wise, so we're going to get to that pack opening relatively quickly, but let's see what all there is to talk about. First of all, I will go over the fact that over the weekend, this past weekend, we did have the online competition of the Unova Classic in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and I did participate using some of my classic Pokemon from previous generations, some Pokemon going as far back as, were they in Sapphire? I don't think so, but definitely as far back as Pokemon Fire Red on the Game Boy Advance. Blaze the Charizard, Snoozer the Snorlax, and Machamp all come from all the way back there. The fact that they're still competing at this stage in their lives, basically, they're like, what, like 12 years old, I think, at this point? I don't know exactly when Sapphire and, not Sapphire, but Fire Red first came out, but it was, I'm going to say probably at least 10 years ago. So some of these Pokemon are technically, the data collection is 10 years old, so I kind of like the fact that I can still use them in these competitions. So if you want to check out some Wi-Fi battles, which we haven't had on the channel in quite some time, the Unova Classic videos are now up. Started off kind of rough. I had to do post-commentary on day 1 simply because getting 6 losses in a row for my first 6 battles, I got frustrated, and I decided, you know what, I can't really show these live battles off because my commentary is getting pretty pessimistic and pretty, I wouldn't say negative exactly, but just pretty much, you know, pretty downtrodden, pretty crestfallen, all that stuff. So I decided I was going to just do post-commentary for those videos. I did save the battle videos, but on day 2 and 3, I had a little bit better of a time dealing with my losses, and I did about as good on day 2 as I did on day 1. Day 3, I actually did a lot better, And over the entire competition, I did mention this at the end of day 3, but I'll just give you a little recap here. I wound up going 15-15, so I played 30 battles, half wins and half losses. The fact that some of the people that I did win against had a higher rating than I did means that I was actually pushed above the 1500 rating. You start at 1500 for starters, you lose points as you lose matches, you gain points as you win, of course. And the higher the opponent, the more points you gain for beating them. So even though I went even with the wins and losses, my rating did go above 1500, which I'm happy with. You know, there's people out there that get, I think, upwards of like 1800 points because they just completely sweep everybody they see. But for me, the fact that I'm using my classic Pokemon all the way through from previous games, I'm happy breaking even, or at least, I'm happy at least breaking even, but I'm really happy to go above the ratings. The only downside is 3 of the battles that I did have were, I'm going to say, not real battles. 2 of the opponents in these situations were just teams of low-level Pokemon. As soon as the match began, these opponents forfeited the match because there are some people that will just go into these competitions just to enter the 3 battles, forfeit, and earn themselves the participation prize of whatever the competition is offering up. The other opponent that I had, I really don't know why this happened. They were pretty much set to win. They had a weather team focused on rain. I think at one point the battle came down to 3 on my side and 3 on their side. They might have even had a 4th one in reserve. And I was struggling to think of how to deal with this. Then the connection was severed. Now, it wasn't my internet because I checked. I was still connected afterwards. I don't know if they intentionally disconnected. I'm going to say they probably didn't because they were on the winning side. They might have just had an internet problem. Whatever the case is, it awarded me a win for that, and it's not a true win. I didn't win it through the hardship of battle, you know? But regardless, the way the game technically marked those battles, I do have 15 wins, 15 losses. I would say 12 definite wins, 15 losses. We'll just go with that. But my rating did get above 1500. As soon as I know exactly what the number is, I'll mention that in another news update video thingy, but it's going to take probably like a week or 2 for Pokemon Global Link to compile all the data. And now, moving on to Pokemon Shuffle news. I think I mentioned all these last week, but I'll mention them again right now anyway. Up until September 6th, which is next Tuesday, there are 5 special stages on the go. I'm sure more will come along through the week, but for the time being, the 5 that are remaining are, you can encounter Zygarde Complete Form and White Kyurem, both in standard encounters, so do your usual matching of your puzzle pieces, get your damage off on these Pokemon, possibly capture them for your collection. And also available, we have the legendary Zekrom and Shaman in its land form, and both of these Pokemon, if you capture them and then later beat them on a subsequent attempt, they might drop a skill booster for themselves, which you can then use in future battles when you bring them in to another battle. You're going to activate their special abilities a little bit more often if you use these skill boosters. And currently on the go is an escalation battle featuring the legendary Diancie. Legendary or mythical? I'm not sure exactly what that would be considered, but Diancie, the mysterious Pokemon, is available in an escalation battle. Escalation battles are where it is at level 1 for the stage, and every time you defeat Diancie, the level increases by 1. The higher the level, the higher the the capture rate of Diancie will be. Also, by hitting certain level marks, you will gain certain items along the way. I think at level 10, you get 1,000 coins, and when you hit level 50, you'll get the Diancite to be able to Mega Evolve Diancie. So that is for Pokemon Shuffle. And now that September is almost upon us, the Pokemon 20 celebration and mythical distribution is continuing to roll onward. Starting on September 1st, Victini from the Unova region will be the distribution for Pokemon 20. This is going to be a mystery gift distribution over the Nintendo Network. All you gotta do is log into your game, X, Y, OR, or AS, Mega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Go to your mystery gift on the main menu, download via the internet, again starting September 1st, and you can get yourself a copy of the Pokemon 20 Victini. It, of course, will have the Victory Star ability. It will be at level 100. The moveset is Incinerate, Quick Attack, Endure, and Confusion. So if you're interested in adding this Pokemon into your collection, that is how you do it. Starting September 1st until I think September 24th, you can download via the internet a Victini through the mystery gift. And also in video game news, now with the Pokemon Global Link going to go on a suspension, hiatus sort of thing, preparing for Pokemon Sun and Moon, that is happening partway into October. I think this is near the end of October. The current rating battle, Season 17, will be the final season of rating battles on the Global Link, because there's probably not time to have like an 18th season. So that's going to end officially on September 17th during the regularly scheduled maintenance for the Pokemon Global Link. But as soon as that is done and the official ending has occurred, they are still allowing people to go into the rating battles, I believe. It might just be the free battles, but we'll assume the rating battles, because I think that's what it said. and you're going to use the same format, same rules and regulations as is currently available in Season 17. But I don't think it's going to record your wins or losses anymore. Maybe it will, I don't know. But they're just officially, they're not starting a Season 18 because the Global Link could possibly end partway through Season 18 without an official ending to that. But if you like doing the rating battles, you will have time to continue the Season 17 up until September 17 and just continue playing on from there. Just tiding you over until Sun and Moon come out, which is when the Global Link will come back with, I'm sure, I don't know if it's going to be all new features, but the ability to set your own online competitions with your own rule sets. And what else are they offering that is different than what they currently have? I know they had a big post about this on sunandmoon.com, but I can't recall offhand what else there might be. There could be some new surprises too. Like right now the Global Link has mini games that you can play to get certain items in your games. And I did mention this a while back. If you're not currently checking out the Global Link, I encourage you to do so. I'll put a link down in the description. I believe up until the link is completely done, they're offering special discounts on the items you can get from the Global Link. You can get special things like ability capsules. You can get various things like PP Up, I believe you can get. And normally you spend your Poké Miles to get these items, but they're all on 50%. At least the last time I did a news update, that's what they said. So check out the Global Link, see what items there might be available for your current Gen 6 games. Get as many of those as you can before the link is done. And as soon as Sun and Moon do come out and are released and you have the Global Link and Pokemon Bank and all that stuff connected, you can then send your Pokemon that you've used these items on into these new games. So why not, right? And the only other thing to mention, I believe, is regarding Pokemon Go. Now, admittedly, I've kind of run out of things to mention for Pokemon Go. I've gone over the gyms, I've gone over how to level up quickly, about getting your Pokestops and all that stuff. Personally, for me, there's not a lot of places that I go to outside of my daily routine. Like I've seen, you've seen many videos of me in Uptown St. John, my hometown, just going to the kind of the same places time and time again, catching the same kind of Pokemon. Outside of that, I really don't have the access to make big travel plans to go to different locations and such. So as far as a weekly series, I cannot really provide that much more content for Pokemon Go. But what I'm going to do is, instead of making a weekly series, whenever I do have some sort of a big trip planned, I'll see what I can do for checking out the new area that I go to and trying to capture some new Pokemon. Do some sort of like a vlog style thing for that, which would be kind of cool because I can sort of video recap the travels that I go on, as well as including Pokemon Go stuff, which would be kind of cool. And I've never really done vlog style stuff, so that might be something for me to try to get into. So the only thing to really mention regarding Pokemon Go is the most recent update, which was, I think, a little less than a week ago. It was a new feature where your team leader can appraise the Pokemon that you have. And what this is, it's basically like the potential judge in the 3DS games, for example. They will let you know what I'm not going to specifically state the number, but they'll let you know a general idea what the IVs, or individual values, are for your Pokemon's HP, attack, and defense. They give you a general overview of how good the Pokemon is. They'll say something like, for example, for Team Instinct, Spark will say something like, this Pokemon has a lot of room to grow for, battling, so that tells you that it's possibly the worst IV spread. Others will say, this Pokemon can battle with the best of them. Then they'll break down exactly what the best stat is. They might say, this, attack is this Pokemon's best stat. And then they'll tell you either they have really strong stats, they're really decent, or it's the best it can possibly be. So, before deciding which Pokemon to add into your team, I would say capture several of them and have your team leader appraise them all. As soon as you find one that has, it says they can battle with the best of them, and they say 1 or 2, maybe even 3 of their stats are the best they can possibly be, that's probably the one you want to go ahead and train. Now, the only difference would be as far as the moveset of these Pokemon. So you might have a Pokemon with max IVs for everything, but they might have the worst possible attacks. And from what I understand, each Pokemon can have 1 of 3 different attacks for its basic attack and its charge attack. So there's all these different factors that come into play. You got to decide what you want to focus on. Do you want to focus on the stats? Do you want to focus on the attacks? And as far as like evolution goes, moves don't carry over, from what I'm told, into the evolution. So you might have, for example, a Squirtle with the best attacks it can have and max IVs, and you think, oh, that's the best one, I want to get into Blastoise. As soon as you evolve it to Wartortle, it might randomly have the worst possible attacks that a Wartortle could have. So there's all these different things you can consider when choosing which Pokemon to power up in Pokemon Go. Essentially, the reason I can't provide too much more content is because it's not a story-based game. I can't show you. So the next part in Pokemon Go is, this is what happens. Pokemon Go is your own adventure, and it's what you want to do. You might be a kind of person that prefers going and battling gyms, and that is your story. as far as other things like, maybe you like to collect Pokemon. Maybe you like to go to various different regions and see everything you can encounter. Maybe it might be like Pokemon Snap for you. You might want to just go around and take photos of Pokemon. I know personally, when I see a wild evolved Pokemon, generally I won't capture it. I'll just take a photo. The reason I won't capture it is because what I want to do is wait to evolve my lower evolutionary Pokemon into the evolved forms and gain double experience when I use a Lucky Egg before doing that. And I did a video about Lucky Egg evolution and what was it? Just basically adding new Pokemon into the Pokedex. So all that being said, Pokemon Go is on sort of a hiatus kind of thing, but as I go on bigger trips here and there, and if a huge update, for example, if Gen 2 ever gets released sometime soon, I'll do definitely a video to, basically cover the update at that point. But from the day-to-day, week-to-week sort of thing, Pokemon Go is currently on a suspended hiatus kind of a thing. I hope everybody's okay with that. Alright, moving on, the last thing to mention is the question of the day, because that is all the news. I'm going to prepare to open up the Fates Collide in a moment, but first of all, question of the day. Now, I was trying to think what would be an interesting sort of question to ask and get a little bit of interaction with everybody out there, and something kind of struck me. Now, I've been watching a lot of different playthroughs of various Pokemon YouTubers doing all the different games from across various generations, and it made me think. Question of the day is, which region in the Pokemon world is your favorite and why? So, I'm not talking which generation of game is your favorite, which region that we've been to. For example, Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh. And as far as Hoenn and, Johto and such, I'm talking either the original or the remake, or both if you prefer that. And for me, I would probably say it's actually a pretty hard question. I really like Hoenn. I'm going to probably just say Hoenn because Hoenn is where so many new things were introduced. Now, this sounds like I'm talking about Gen 3, but the region itself, one of the things that was introduced is contests. And the contest halls are located all throughout Hoenn. I like the fact that you can get ribbons to decorate your Pokemon and highlight the adventures and the different journeys and such that they have been on. So as far as the ribbons and stuff, Hoenn introduced that into the world of Pokemon, and those contest halls are locked in Hoenn, of course. So I think for that reason, probably a few other reasons as well, Hoenn always stands out in my mind as one of my favorite regions, if not the favorite region. I really like the way the remake in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire looks as well. Plus, that is the first one that introduced the primal reversions of some legendary Pokemon. But again, that sounds more like a generation kind of thing. Anyway, alright, if you want to answer the question as what is your favorite generation of Pokemon, go right ahead, because it's hard to distinguish between the two sometimes, but definitely for me, I would say Hoenn is one of my favorites, if not the favorite. Sinnoh, I like that as well, because they continued the contest thing. Unova, no ribbons at all. So, once we get into the Gen 5 playthrough, I've said this before, you'll see I don't have a lot of good stuff to say about Gen 5 and the Unova region. In fact, I have more sort of negative things to say about Gen 5 and the Unova region. But we'll get to that eventually at some point. That is not for some time to come. And that is my answer to my own question of the day. So again, which region in the Pokemon world is your favorite and why? And everyone that answers that question, make sure you include hashtag QOTD down in your comment. Go into the running on Sunday, which is September 4th, to win the Pokemon TCG online code card that I will draw from this booster pack as I open up in just a moment. So let's do that right now and see what cards I get to add into my own collection. And so once again, as we prepare to open up the booster pack of the day, or of the week actually, we have the nice backdrop of the Venusaur EX Red and Blue collection, the Pokemon 20 Celebration collection for the Pokemon TCG, which I'm sure the regular viewers out there are kind of getting tired of me mentioning this, but for anybody new out there that isn't aware, I'm holding on to this collection until we can hit 1,000 subscribers to the channel, at which point I will do an unboxing video of this, give out the code card that comes in that to a lucky viewer who answers that question of the day that I do the unboxing video. And also, I want to get another copy of the collection and do a physical mail out to a viewer as a celebration of hitting a landmark number of 1,000 subscribers to the channel. I'm hoping to do a lot of new additions to the channel as well once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, feel free to do so. I do believe the Pikachu EX collection will be out very soon, at which point it will replace the Venusaur for the 1,000 subscriber celebration thing. And if so, then it'll be the Pikachu collection that I'll be doing as the giveaway. Now, for the time being, let us see what we get out of the Fates Collide booster pack. A random assortment of 10 cards, and the code card will be, of course, secreted off to the side to be given to a viewer that answers the question that I just gave you using hashtag QOTD on, what did I say? September 4th, this coming Sunday. So the code card is now off to the side. let's see what I happen to get out of this booster pack for my own collection. Let's focus in nice and close on these cards. We start seeing a Riolu, we have a Jigglypuff, a Carbink, Safeguard Carbink, very nice to deal with those Pokemon EX out there. We have a Larvitar, and last common is a Diglett. The uncommons begin with a Servine with the Serpentine Strangle. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Next we have an Ultra Ball, very handy in the TCG. Also find an Old Amber Aerodactyl. Look at the bottom 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal an Aerodactyl you find there and put it onto your bench. The Fossil and Old Amber cards are the only way to put restored Pokemon into play normally, without some sort of special trainer card or the ability of, say, Omastar. The reverse foil is a Turmoil Strike Meowth. Look how turmoiled and strikey he's looking right there. This attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. You know what? For a Meowth, that's not bad. If you could go ahead and use, for example, what would it be? Golbat or Crobat from Phantom Forces to put damage counters with the ability, you can then hit that other Pokemon for 50 more damage. Meowth could get a knockout with that on some lower, like, it could knock out an opposing Meowth after Golbat bites it. Consider that, that's not bad. Anyway, enough about Meowth. The rare card is going to be a Kabutops, one of my favorite fossil Pokemon, with Cling, 50 damage, and heal from this Pokemon the same amount of damage you did to your opponent's active Pokemon. Throw a Muscle Band on there, 2 strong energy, put the Fighting Stadium into play. You're suddenly probably giving a full heal to your Kabutops every single turn. And X-Scissor does 80 plus, flip a coin, if heads, 60 more damage. So, I kind of like that card. I didn't really get to use it when I was showing off the fossil Pokemon from the Fates Collide expansion, but it could come in quite handy with the right cards and the right setup. So that is going to be my pack opening of the Fates Collide Booster Pack. Again, for your chance to win this code card, being drawn on Sunday, September 4th, just answer that question of the day. Which region in the Pokemon world is your favorite, and why? So just leave that answer down below in a comment, include the hashtag QOTD in your comment somewhere, and you'll go into the running for the code card, which I've just pulled out today. That is going to be it for the news update for the day, folks. Once again, feel free to come back later on today to check out the Pokemon Silver, the first episode for the week, as we continue checking out the Kanto region. We have just reached Lavender Town, and we are getting ourselves an expansion to our, like, the radio app or whatever in the Pokegear, and it's going to allow us to access more areas in Kanto as well. And again, if you haven't checked out the Unova Classic battles, I was kind of late in uploading them. In fact, one of them just uploaded earlier this morning, so you might have missed that, but feel free to check out the channel, go back and check those out if you want to see some more Wi-Fi battles, which we have not done for quite some time on the channel. All that being said, it is now time to sign off for the day. Professor Chaz is signing off, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.